how will the Alberta election results affect the province's relationship with the federal government?
I don't think it will particularly change the state of affairs. I think it's going to be a continuing tension, as there has long been between the provincial and federal levels, and I think it'll be much the same.
It'll probably stay similar, I think, but I don't think it's a very productive relationship.
I think that Premier Danielle Smith and Justin Trudeau have not typically played very well in the sandbox together. I don't think that Premier Smith and Prime Minister Trudeau have shared goals at all. I don't know that it's going to affect anything much in the way things have happened already, but I can't see it's going to be a good thing. I just don't think the two of them are a good match at all.
I think that's a complex question. I think Alberta has a lot of different components to it, a lot of different perspectives. I think certainly the rhetoric, as it's been sort of articulated, is quite polarizing coming from our current leadership in the legislature. However, I am mindful that just in the recent fires that we had in Alberta, we benefited greatly from federal response and support. So I think that there's a lot of Albertans who identify themselves first as Canadians and who have nuanced views on complex issues, and I think we'll continue to bring those forward at the federal level.
The government that was elected has certainly expressed a combative stance, and I feel that it will be a lot of tense negotiations and a lot of wrangling, especially if they go through on the mandates they expressed.
I mean, Danielle Smith's been in office for a little while now. It hasn't been a great relationship. I don't think anybody will doubt that. And in fact, the current provincial government does love to have an adversary in the federal government. So I'm expecting more of the same, which is probably a really bad relationship.
To be honest with you, I don't think so. It should have any effect on the federal. At the end of the day, the motive should be to work well with the federal government and get the things done that Alberta needs to be, aiming for. And I think they should work hand in hand on this kind of a scenario to get better results for Albertans and for Canadians, for that matter.
I would think it's going to go downhill very rapidly with Danielle Smith and with Trudeau. I don't think they'll see eye to eye on too many things.
Should be reasonable, but the government seems to, they have their own opinions of what's going on and what they plan on doing. So hopefully they actually listen to some of these provinces, including our own.
I think that every province and federal government need to find ways to work together. I mean, this party has been in power and they found some ways to move forward. And I think it's both the responsibility of the Premier and the Prime Minister to find ways to meet in the middle.
Well, I think that it's going to be controversial, and the new Alberta Premier will have to be very diplomatic and stuff, but I realize that it's a different mindset out there with respect to politics and everything, but of course they're Canadian, and despite what everybody thinks, our current Prime Minister has a very tough job to do, and I think he's doing an excellent job considering the hand he's being dealt with respect to American politics, having to deal with that, the war in Ukraine, COVID, and all those sorts of things that have really been thrown at him, and he's managed to get his way through it. I would hate to think about the alternative, whether it be in Alberta or federally, that may not be able to handle all those situations so well.
I think that it's kind of been going downhill, and it's been used as a way to whip up people's anger. And when you get people angry, they stop thinking. So unfortunately, given another mandate, I think they're going to double down, and it's just going to make things more difficult. Particularly as we as a nation and as a world need to start moving forward with changing the way we interact with our environment so that we're not poisoning the air and the water and the soil and such. Climate change is just one of the harbingers of our irresponsibility. And if we continue to be irresponsible, but it's hard work. Cleaning up a room's harder than messing it up, right? And it's not really popular with the kids when you tell them they got to clean up the room. So
Thanks, Dad.